more inmates now sitting on Arizona's death row. John and Sammantha Allen, both convicted of killing 10-year-old Ame Deal. They're the first married couple, both sentenced to death in our state.
But Arizona hasn't carried out an execution in 3 years. Team 12's William Pitts is verifying if those punishments will ever be carried out.
John and Sammantha Allen were sentenced to death, but Arizona has a problem. It can't get the drugs it uses for lethal injection. So will those sentences ever really be carried out?
The jury has returned its verdict, fixing the punishment as death.
John Allen, sentenced to die for his part in killing 10-year-old Ame Deal, locked in a plastic box in the heat for taking a popsicle.
I want to say that I'm sorry.
The jury had no sympathy. But because Arizona's capital punishment is in limbo, Allen and his wife Sammantha, who was also found guilty, may never be executed. It all goes back to convicted murderer Joseph Wood, executed in 2014.
It was a clear gasp, and it just sort of looked like a fish opening and closing his mouth.
The state of Arizona couldn't get the usual execution drugs. The drug company didn't want its products used for lethal injection. They used a substitute that took 15 doses over 2 hours.
Here in Arizona, the Department of Corrections agreed not to use two different drugs that have been in their protocol.
Federal public defender Dale Bache says that left them with the original drugs, the ones they can't get anymore. So executions are effectively on hold for now. There are none scheduled because there's no way to carry them out.
There are a number of cases that are at the end of the process, but the state doesn't have the ability to obtain drugs to carry out the executions.
Which leads to another question. Is waiting for death without knowing if it will come cruel and unusual? Bache says yes.
There are some people on death row in Arizona and other states that have been there for 40 years. And that's way too long, and it is cruel.
But the courts have never had to decide that. So we can verify that executions are effectively on hold. Will the Allens ever be executed? The appeals process runs about 20 years. It's impossible to say. William Pitts, 12 News.